What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest homesteading channel on planet Earth that typically has nothing to do with homesteading whatsoever. As of this recording day, it's January 20, 2025, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's also Inauguration Day. President Trump, who was the 45th president, today will be sworn in as the 47th president. I was hoping to catch a Chinook flying in the background, or an osprey. They've been flying around all morning. I'm only about 2 hours south of DC, drive-wise, as the crow flies, or the drones in this case, or the ospreys or whatever. It's like just a few minutes. So today's a big day of vindication, and hey, if you're, 47 supporter, you've been vindicated, but that's not specifically what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stories we've been telling since odd things have been showing up since last November. We caught some orbs or plasmoids on trail cams. People have been seeing the orbs. They've been seeing the fog. They've been getting sick. We've seen all kinds of stuff. But here's who's been vindicated, because I called it. And again, it was not about me being right. It was about me being logical and sane. So the alien invasion never came. The big false flag never came that would cause Biden and his administration to implement martial law so that there couldn't be a transition of power. The transition of power, as of this recording, has been taking place all morning. At noon, it's going to be solidified. Back to business as normal. Again, what I saw coming was that the buildup to the false flag was the false flag. And it is because, once again, they want to go back to saying, you're crazy. If you've had any experiences with sighting UFOs or UAPs, if you have had an experience with an abduction, and you've spoken outwardly about this, for years they called you crazy. Well, for the last 3 or 4 months, people have been saying, wow, there's something to this. But since that big false flag event, like Dr. Greer and all those others were saying, like they've been saying for 30 years, never happened, people will once again go back to say you're crazy. However, we know what took place over the last 3 or 4 months, so we have been vindicated. Okay, some of it was extraterrestrial nature, a lot of it was government, and you're going to find out a lot about that once President Trump does get in there and get to work. But I'm going to show you the proof in the pudding, giving a big shout out today to a woman named Tina in Tennessee. This is True Hauntings Volume 1. This book was published nearly 3 years ago, long before anybody was talking about orbs or plasmoids or drones or deadly fog. Tina in Tennessee submitted a story of an honest-to-God real experience with one such orb before orbs were cool. And then she recently emailed us a follow-up. She's given us permission to use her name in her stories. You can do the same. If you've got a story, send it to us. crazylake@mail.com is the email address. Listen, this is where what we're trying to do on this channel is really going to kick into high gear. Now that the invasion never took place and all this things never happened, this is your safe place to come, because we know the truth. The folks at this channel have been sharing their real experiences with these abductions and UAPs and drones and UFOs for years. They were not fair-weathered followers of this phenomena that's gone on all over the world the last few months. They weren't bandwagoners, okay? So I'm going to show you a brief message from our sponsor, Viver. Then we're getting straight into Tina's stories, both of them. We're going to go back 3 years. It's brief, and then we're going to go to her latest experience. So I want to thank my favorite sponsor that I have. I've got many, but Viver is my favorite. I want to thank Viver today for making this video possible. I'm going to show you a couple of tool sets from Viver. Now, I actually demoed this one just before Christmas. Yeah, it's when I wore my silly Grinch costume. But I made a video about this, what to get the person that already has everything. This is an amazing 207-piece tool set. Pretty much has everything you need. I've been using it like crazy just in the last few months. I've actually I got it just before Christmas, so it's been about 6 weeks. Been using it like crazy. I've learned to fix things I didn't even know I could fix with this thing. I've just watched demo videos on YouTube. But I recently got sort of like an amendment socket set to go with it. This is the main product I want to show you today in 60 seconds or less. This is an oversized socket set, so to say. It's a 19-piece supersized socket set. It comes well packed. We just got this one delivered a couple of days ago. But now I want to point out that it does not come with the ratchet. So this is for people who kind of already have somewhat of a tool collection going. They know what they're doing. But with that said, the 107-piece set does come with an oversized ratchet, which will work with any of the sockets in this set. For example, I'm grabbing the biggest one out of here. You push this down so that you make your connection, and there you go. And then of course you've got reverse action. Now, I'm not going to demo this because most folks who would need this already know how to use them. But what I want to point out again, what I want to attest to again, is the true quality of Weaver's products. Their mantra is tough tools, half price. That is true. For example, you get all of this for $98.99. You get this for $38.99. That's half the price of leading competitor brands. And what I will tell you is that Weaver's been sponsoring me for 3 or 4 years. Any and every single product they've ever sent for me to demo, our family still uses. And it still works as if it's new, because that literally, truly is the quality of these products. And I'm going to point out right now, because it is literally 17 degrees outside and it's going to get down to 10 tonight. We have our water lines under our house wrapped with Weaver electrical pipe lining tape. I crawled under there years ago and did that myself. Our water in our 122-year-old house, which before I wrapped those lines, the water froze for off and on throughout the entire winter. It has not frozen once under these crazy conditions. I firmly stand by Weaver and their products. Okay, so the links to those Weaver products will be in the description box below. But I'm going to get straight to the stories now. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Listen, I've been saying this for months. As I saw it, their agenda was to make you look crazy because they don't want the general public, as a majority, believing that there are extraterrestrial life forms out there. People have observed them, continue to observe them, and some folks have even been abducted. So again, you know, we get a lot of the bots and the trolls and the government shills on here who here recently they've been saying, oh wow, you're getting people to send you their stories so you can publish them in books and profit from it. You're such a maggot and all these other things they call me. Listen, newbies with 15 or 20 different fake accounts. This is something we've been doing here for years. If you're new to the club, you need to go back and check your the back history of this channel and the 2,600 videos that are on here. We have been a safe place for people to come, not because their feelings got hurt because somebody says something mean, but because they've had experiences with the paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, UFOs, aliens. This is where we don't make fun of other people because, you know, a lot of folks, if they haven't had a similar experience, well, they just got to call the other person a liar and say it never happened. You're not welcome here. And listen, if you've been disrespectful to me, my family, or any member of this channel once, then you've been, what's that? I don't know. Looks like a spider web. You've been banned, or you've lost your ability to comment because you can't comment civilly. You don't get that back. Understand that. This ain't baseball where it's 3 strikes, you're out. We have a zero tolerance policy for bullying and disrespecting other users and myself and my family. You disrespect us once, you do not get a second chance. That's how I live my life. That's how I run this channel. Okay? So keep this in mind before you want to blast Tina from Tennessee for her 2 stories. The first, which was submitted almost 3 years ago before this stuff was cool. Okay? We titled this Close Encounters of a Fiery Orb Kind. Tina writes, "Hello, Kevin." And it's brief, but remember, this is almost 3 years ago. "I really enjoy your videos and watch them religiously. I live in Tennessee near the Clinch Mountains. You may use my name if you wish, and by the way, we hillbillies have thick skin." Yes, we do, Tina. I'm a hillbilly from West Virginia. We do have thick skin. You call us anything you want, you're not going to hurt our feelings. All you're going to do is get the door closed on your access to us. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it's not because we're offended. It's not because, no one cares. We know no one cares. We came up from our own bootstraps. We had to learn the rough way. We had to make do with what we had available. And we have like a zero tolerance policy for bull crap. Because if that's how you want to spend your time, you want to hate on other people, you want to be toxic, you want to be cynical and judgmental, you're at the wrong place. Leave us long-haired country boys alone. And girls. Back to what Tina was saying. I need to tell my story in hopes there are more of the same scenarios out there and I can finally be redeemed as sane. This is what it's all about. From 3 years ago, our Homesteading Off the Grid faithfuls, that's what I've chosen to name our members, and we had a wonderful members-only live chat last night. We're going to have another one within a week. We've been here for a long time sharing these stories because we did know there was strength in numbers. And in the last 3 or 4 months, we've picked up a bunch of wonderful folks who understand that as well, and they now have this safe place to come. We're not going to let any of y'all ruin it for them. She continues. There were 4 of us camping in the woods at a place you probably know as Elrod Falls. It was late at night, and we had a campfire, and we were having a really good time. My sister, who was one of the 4 of us, which also included her husband and my boyfriend, needed to use the woods. So I went with her. You know how girls are. We can't even go by ourselves in the woods. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Again, safety in numbers. I was standing with my back to her when I noticed a flickering of light out of the corner of my eyes, and I thought she was finished with her business and had lit a cigarette. I turned around, and not 2 arms lengths from me, at eye level and right above my still tinkling sis, was an orb as big as a beach ball, and it was glowing as if it were on fire. However, the light wasn't reflecting off of or shining onto anything else, not my sister and me, nor the trees around us. In the middle of this mass, it looked sort of like a lava lamp, but instead of being clear on the outside, reddish in the middle, it was more like a burning orange. It's so hard to describe it, being that I have never seen those colors before, so that's the closest I can say as far as describing it. This orb was also intelligent, because when I saw it, after my initial shock of course, I gave a pretty good scream. My sister fell backwards on the ground, and it shot straight up into the top of the tree behind my sis. It did this in the way that something that was scared would jump, like a cat or an animal. I tried to get my sister to look up, but she was too busy giving me lip for scaring the daylights out of her, and she thought it was a joke, and she wasn't going to fall for it. It took a split second, if that, for it to get to the top of the tree, and with the speed that we can't comprehend. Then it left the tree and shot through the forest canopy and into the sky. To this day, my sister thinks I made it up, but I will take this to my grave as the honest-to-God truth. I am hoping to find others who have had this experience with sightings of this nature. Thank you for letting me share. My name is Tina Brown. Tina, thank you. All right, so that's from 3 years ago. Now listen, folks, again, we're getting a couple of hundred emails a day. It does no use to send me an email and say, hey, I want to tell you this, but whatever you do, don't share it on your channel. What's the point? Guess what? I'm not reading them. Yes, I can appreciate the fact that you've had that experience, but you can't garner strength in numbers if you're not willing to come forth and be part of those numbers. Okay? And a lot of you are sending me YouTube video links. You're saying, hey, you should watch this video. I don't have time for that. If you have a story, a true, honest-to-God personal experience with any of this stuff that you don't mind being shared with others so you can become part of that Strength in Numbers group, send it with your permission for me to use it. It's that simple. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. But if you don't want your story shared, don't send it. I'm not watching other videos from YouTube. It's called efficiency, time management. For me to get these stories out from the people who do have the courage to come forward, who aren't super hypersensitive and aren't going to, go rock in a corner somewhere until I see who's picking on them and have time to ban that person from the channel, which I will, and you won't be allowed back on, then don't send your story. Go somewhere else. But now that the invasion never happened, the false flag event, which was supposed to implement martial law, never happened, This is pretty much the only place you can come now, because get ready for everybody else to start saying, see, we told you those people were crazy, because that was their agenda anyway. I called it, pissed off half this community who are into this thing because I called it. But well, here we are. Margaret. All right. Tina emailed this just a couple of days ago. Same person. All right. She even sent the email and said, hey, Kevin, I sent you my story about the fiery orb years ago, and it's happened again. Tina writes this time. Hello, Kevin. This is another encounter with the mysterious orbs. If you remember me, I'm the one who sent in the story about the fiery orb in a tree. Yeah, Tina, just read it. And again, volume 1. We've published 8 now. They're available in print and Kindle in the description box below. But this series goes back years, brah. I didn't just start this to be an opportunist and take advantage of what was going on in the last 3 or 4 months. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers, putting suckers in fears. Okay, that's from LL Cool J. This ain't new for us. All right, Tina continues. I will start out this story by telling you that I live in the country in Dandridge, Tennessee, and my property sits in an area with a lot of pastures and trees. My son and I were home, he in his room and me in mine. This was December 4th, and we just went through the hurricane a couple weeks prior, and we were still getting some residual winds that were pretty bad. I heard a noise that sounded like something was ripping off my roof. I thought that a branch had fallen from one of my oak trees and hit the roof. I came out of my room, and my son came out of his, and we both said, "Did you hear that?" I told him to get the flashlight. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and to go see if there was a branch on the roof. He proceeded to go off the porch and to the left to go around the house. I decided to go the other way. I stepped off the porch. Now it was very windy. We were getting around 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and the sky was clear, and you could see every star in the sky. That's what it was like here last night. Immediately, my attention was drawn to the sky. I saw a very bright white orb coming toward me, but about 200 feet above my head, and it was leaving sort of a smear, if you will, behind it as it moved. It settled right over me. My son came around the house, and I told him to look up, and he was in awe. We both were. I happened to look out over the pasture behind my house, and there were 3 more perfectly aligned and spaced apart, just sitting in the sky like they were waiting on the other that had come for a visit over my head. Wow. I didn't feel frightened or threatened at all. I ran in the house and grabbed my phone and started recording. Now, with the wind blowing so hard, and it was really cold, and it was hard for me to keep my phone still, but I did record it, and I snapped some photos. When I tell you that they were beautiful, it's really an understatement of how ethereal they were. It was like they came from heaven. I really feel vindicated now from everyone thinking I was a nut job about the other orb I'd seen so many years ago. They are undeniable now with so many sightings. I stayed outside as long as I could stand the wind and cold, but I did keep an eye on them until I went to bed, and when I arose the next morning, they were gone. I do look out my window quite often to see if they have returned, but I guess we are too boring for them to hang around. But I do wonder why I get to have this honor of being visited by these unworldly entities. I will attach the video and some pics. Enjoy, and until next time, sincerely, Tina. I did see the pics, Tina, in the video, and they were superb. I'll probably share them in the next members-only live stream. So there you have it, folks. Tina in Tennessee. 3 years ago, she had this experience, and she shared about it, and everybody called her nuts. Well, the last few months, everybody around the world have been having these experiences, and everybody suddenly wanted to listen to Tina. All of a sudden, Tina wasn't nuts. Crazy Lake wasn't so crazy. Well, what happens now? Everybody took the bait, except this guy and Tina and the folks who follow this channel. The alien invasion never happened. Does it mean the aliens aren't there? Absolutely not. We know they're there. But now, because it never happened, once again, they are going to say, you're crazy. Okay, there was no build-up to martial law because Project Bluebeam never happened. So once again, they're going to say you're a nutcase conspiracy theorist. And again, I called it. It was by design. It was to make you and me and Tina And all of those of us out there who have had these experiences look insane so nobody will believe the experiences. But this is your safe place. This is your safe place. The most awesomest homesteading channel on the planet that doesn't have a gosh darn thing to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. Keep coming back, because so will I. Send us your stories, crazylake@mail.com. But again, if you don't want anybody to read your story, don't waste your time sending it, because once I get to that sentence, I stop reading. Come on, let's be effective, let's be productive, let's get something done instead of sitting around whining and crying. There's enough people in our society doing that. I have reason to believe for the next 4 years, those people are going to get left behind. And the doers, the achievers, we're going to be out there winning. See you for more next time.